Welcome back to another episode of STEM in Stilettos. This is your host, Zofia Morales, and today I'm here with Chioma Aso, and we are going to discuss engineering confidence, robotics representation, and the rise of STEAM Divas. So, do you have a daughter who's been interested in science topics, and you have absolutely no idea where this interest came from and you're trying to be supportive? Or maybe you have a daughter who initially showed some interest and that has somehow faded and waned and you'd like to reignite that. Or maybe you have a classroom of bored science students that you're trying to figure out how to get more engaged in the topic. If you're facing any of these struggles, today you have arrived at the right place. Chioma is the visionary behind STEAM Divas. She has a diverse expertise spanning electrical, software, robotics, and test engineering. Her transformative leadership has left an indelible mark on industries such as space, gaming, and manufacturing. Beyond her technical prowess, Chioma is a published author offering invaluable insights in productivity, personalities, team dynamics, and has a book called Unlocking the Team Puzzle that supports that exploration. As the founder and president of STEAM Divas, Chioma masterfully melds her technical acumen with unbridled passion for empowering women in STEM fields. Her approach of fusing hands-on engineering experiences with the expressive power of art embodies the core mission of the organization. Welcome, Chioma. I'm so excited to have you here with us today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I've been looking forward to this. I'm really excited.
Oh, me too, so much. When we were doing the research for guesting you on this episode, I had a chance to go out and look at the STEAM Divas website and all of that. And it's like, this is so cool. I need to get a kit and start building some of this stuff. So, give us a little backstory, Chioma. What brought you into STEM and engineering in the first place? How did you arrive in this world?
Oh, it was a I'm just kidding. It wasn't that
Long,
long.
long time ago, back in the dawn of time. The
Before we,
dinosaurs still roamed through the backyard. No,
pretty
maybe not that
much,
long ago.
it was not that long ago. But I've generally been in an environment where I've been encouraged to do what I wanted to do. So I grew up in Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria, and my mom was a little bit not the usual kind of mom because she gave us that freedom to do what we wanted to do. Engineering was always like seen as a male dominated field, and I wanted to do it because I had this affinity towards fixing things.
Hmm.
So when I was younger, we used to have people come over to the house to fix electronics when they break, and I would be hanging around them long enough to pick up what they're doing, and later on, I'll be the fixer of whatever electronic that I probably broke. And so I've always had this passion to be in something related to that, but I did not have a clarity about what type of engineering I wanted to get into. So at some point in time, I wanted to be like my dad, like a civil engineering, and I wanted to do food service engineering because my mom was in catering. I was just moving all over the place. Eventually, I landed in electrical engineering. And so when I started, I came over to the United States to study. And in that instance, unlike when I was growing up, where pick a science, pick an arts, you pick one of those areas. But when I moved over here, they gave us electives and they allowed us to be able to do dance, which I did.
Uh-huh.
They allowed us to do things like creative writing, which was one of my favorite things to do. At the same time, I was still in electrical engineering, and an opportunity popped up for us to learn computer coding. And so I ended up learning how to code. So even though I was in hardware, electrical engineering, I kind of fell in love with coding and the arts, and I just had this numerous passion. But I didn't really move into computer engineering. I stayed with electrical engineering, but I was coding along the way. And eventually, when I left school, I graduated, I went into my first job as a test engineer that allowed me to put my software and my hardware skills And from there, I moved into another job, which is also manufacturing, which is an OEM. So my first job was in contract manufacturing, where I was building test equipment. My second job was in an OEM. I was also building test equipment, but I was managing a much larger department, which was for the electronic billboards you see on the road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so even though the ones in New York City, so we used to build those. And then eventually I moved out of that into aerospace, where we were building space vehicle. I worked on the equipment section with a bunch of packages that used to help control the equipment. Eventually I moved into gaming as an engineering manager there, learning software, working on the game engine, which showed me how to simulate things. This is similar to what we do in hardware. So there's a lot of correlation.
I love that.
But
And
yeah,
what you're describing is like being on the fun bleeding edge of a lot of what's going on in
exactly,
scientific development. It's,
exactly.
I see the NASA sticker in the background. It's like, yeah, this is a lady who can create things from nothing, which is a real gift. And it's a thing to be nurtured. And that's one of the things that I find so sad when I hear about girls deciding I won't be liked if I get interested in science and therefore I'm not going to go down that road. It's like, yeah, no, no, sweetheart. You'll just find a better quality of man. That's what
That's
will
true.
happen. We need people who can do these things, who are interested in art and science and computers and engineering. So much now is put on the specialist, right? You need a specialist, but you also need people like you. And I will also say me because I'm one of these multi interest kind of people who can cross pollinate the stuff and bring it together because that's what robotics is, right? It's this wonderful mesh of engineering meets computers meets electrical engineering and real world creative problem solving.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm excited. I'm so thrilled to have you here with us today. So, some of these diverse, you've had a huge range of experiences. How have they shaped the way you solve problems and lead groups?
Yeah, that's a really good question. One of the things that I realize is that I always encourage the generalist approach to solving problems because that's how you get very innovative. The idea that you're going to just be fixed in one area reduces your opportunity to see things from different points of view. So, my ability to be very diverse in my thinking has enabled me to be able to connect the dots. By doing that, I've been able to be more innovative in providing solutions. And also, when it comes to not just dealing with machines and products, also dealing with humans, the reason why I was able to write my book, Unlocking the Team Puzzle, was because I understood a concept that came out of a mathematical knowledge of the bell curve and understanding that everything typically has that bell curve, especially when you were talking about people testing and trying out a product. And from that, recognizing that even when we're building a product, people also have a tendency to have the almost like trying on a product, same vibrations towards it. So we have the early starters who are like the early testers of your product, which are the early people that will also have starting out building a
Yeah, the
product.
people who are like, oh, cool new tech, I gotta
New
have it.
tech, exactly. And we have those same people existing within our works frames because you have people that you be like, oh, we're gonna build something new, and they're gonna be like, oh, cool, new stuff, right?
Right,
And you
yeah.
have the people who are like to call them deep divers. They're like the middle of the bell curve, and those people typically are like, we're gonna need to understand this product very well before we buy it. And the same with these people, we're gonna understand this product very well before we build it. And sometimes you find out that the early starters, the new tech people, they have a tendency to lose interest halfway through the project because,
Yeah,
it's
the
no longer
inspiration has
no,
passed. Now we've
exactly.
gotten into the
Yeah.
messy middle and the mundane problems that come out.
Exactly.
The reality is harshing my vibe right now.
Exactly. And that's where deep divers come into play
Yeah.
because of the people that have taken time to understand the product. And if you think about selling your product, those are the people that is actually going to stay with your product for a much longer time. And then we have the people who are late to coming. I like to call them the final finishers and productivity personalities. These are the people that would help you deliver your product to the customer. They come in late to the project, like in a sense of like buying into it,
Yeah.
but they finish it up, the finishing touches, they're collecting all of the data, they're making sure reliability is great, they're communicating with the customer service. And you find those people are really important. Even most science companies don't realize that because
Yeah, they
when you're starting
package
out
it
your new,
nicely and they put a pretty bow on it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the most important part is when you're starting out your new product, they heard from the customer. They know what the customer wants. They're closer to the product at the end. So they're the ones who's like, oh, okay, the new one is gonna be better because we're gonna
Yeah.
have to do this, and this is what the
Hang with
customer
us. We've heard your feedback. I've passed it along to the people who can make it
exactly.
happen. Yeah.
And if you think about it, these are the people that if you're selling a product, they are the ones that would be like, oh, I'm not leaving this product until they tell me it's end of life, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to connect those dots and find things. And if I was someone that was like, oh, all I'm going to do is science, STEM, and that's it, I would miss out on the humanity part of it and miss out on how the humanity will help me to build great people on my team that would allow them not to burn out quickly and
Hmm.
allow them to be in a position where they're productive at best. And at
Yeah,
the
and
same
when they
time,
feel good about their productivity,
exactly.
because if
And
you
at,
put one of these early arch visionary people into the
yeah,
messy middle, it's a disaster.
exactly.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I can reward as a team because most times companies use tend to reward the early starters better because they're always like jumping on the product and
Yeah, I've
everything
got
is
this
top.
amazing new thing. It's going to open
Yeah.
up this multi-million dollar market. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But every one of these people are successful in making sure your product gets to the end. And so
Absolutely. And
so
you
you
need
now
every single one of them to make that happen.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And that's why my ability to be a generalist and be able to diversify my thinking enables me to be able to lead successful and also to be able to be a better engineer.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that not only are you technically well-rounded, but you have that well-rounded, solid emotional IQ to go with the intelligence quotient that you obviously have so much of. Because so often what we'll see with the hyper technical specialized kind of people is they have specialized not just on the intellectual side, but even on how they interact with the world. And they tend to go, well, I just don't do people.
Hmm.
And so I love that you do people and you do people well. So tell me, what was the moment or experience that inspired you to create STEAM Divas, and how has that evolved since that initial inspiration?
Yeah, our STEAM Divas came out of the fact that I was always the only, or we're such a minority within groups. And I said, maybe if there's a lot of us, right, they will understand some of what I'm doing or the way I handle problems. So I wanted to increase the number of women in technology. It's basically, if you look at our tag, it's like increasing women in STEM, right? So
Yes.
that was the main goal. And I realized that there were a lot of blockers that was causing women, not only are they not getting into STEM, even staying in STEM.
Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to do was to grab girls who just felt like STEM is not for them.
Mm.
Because I felt like the ones who already knew they wanted to do STEM, like me from the beginning, they just kind of stayed, put
Yeah,
in
they're
all
going to
that effort.
persist probably. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's so few. So I was like, how do I increase the number of girls in STEM without changing things too drastically? And that's where the addition of the arts came into STEAM Divas. So it became STEM with arts because I found that as the human nature, people tend to gravitate where they find people that look like them or people they feel like can relate more to. And I find
Yeah.
that a lot of young girls gravitate towards the arts. And I'm not talking about just painting, I'm talking about things that have to do with EQs, things that
Mhm.
have to do with styling, fashion, and things of that nature. And
Yeah.
so I said, why don't I find a way to include the things the girls are interested in and sneaking STEM into it. Because when people are doing things they're interested in, they have a passion for learning everything else that's tied onto it. And so by doing
Exactly.
that,
Exactly. When you've got this idea that you're trying to bring to life, you'll go
exactly,
do things you wouldn't otherwise be interested in. You'll go
exactly.
discover, but how does a servo work? You know, that
Exactly.
kind of
That
thing.
is it. That is the trick. And that's what I would say. So I call myself the gateway into STEM.
All
That's why
right,
I call
hang on.
STEAM
I'm going to
Divas.
put a pin in the gateway into STEM because we are up on our first break already.
Okay.
And I like to assign a little thought homework over the break so that we stay on topic even as we're supporting the program. So, what would be a good thought topic for a parent or an educator who's trying to make science interesting and engaging?
I would say the best way they can go about it is find what the students are interested in and then build your STEM topics around those things.
Mm, I like that. I like that. So
So that,
crowdsource the interest and then put a plan around it. I like that.
exactly.
So spend a little time around how you're going to identify, or maybe you already know something that kind of lights them up. Spend a little time thinking about that and hang with us. We'll be right back from the break.
Oh, shake it loud, the world here. Tech is ours and we show no fear. No fear. No fear. No fear.
Thanks for hanging in with us through the break. This is Zofia Morales. I am back with the amazing and wonderful Chioma, the visionary founder of STEAM Divas. And you mentioned before the break, and I love this line, that you are like the gateway to STEM. So pick that story back up of your philosophy behind STEAM Divas.
Yeah, so it just came out of this whole the gateway to drug things because of the whole addiction. I love the idea of sneaking them in and then creating a passion behind it. Like people always
Yes.
say, I'm just gonna do this drug and then get that's the whole point of the gateway, right? And so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want people to be like, I'm just gonna go in and style a hair with some servo motors and robotic parts and next thing they're building robots, or I'm just going to learn how to do great makeup with chemistry and the next thing they're in the lab working on stuff. And so
Yeah.
the addiction part sneaks in on you, and so that's where I call it the gateway into STEM. I work collaboratively, which is my philosophy, with a lot of other STEM groups. So if you're growing through STEAM Divas, I can find your resources, find your mentors, and things like that. So we're definitely looking at ourselves like, hey, this is a fun stuff coming. And
It
then you
is
get
fun
in and
stuff
you're
coming.
like,
When I was in grad school, we had to teach labs, and one of the labs we did was tie dyeing.
I love that. I love that. You're giving me an
Applied
idea now.
chemistry, rock and
That
roll.
you're giving me an idea now. That might be something we might pick up too. Okay, I love that.
Yeah, yeah, because it's one thing to learn something, and some of us are like highly motivated to learn something. I'm one of these people. If you could learn something new, I'm in.
I mean,
But I've come to recognize that that's not the majority of people. The majority of people, you say you could learn something, and they kind of roll their eyes and go, "It sounds like
is
work,"
it
and I
fun?
didn't have a good time in school, and forget that. So I think it's crucially important to remember that all information and learning is so much more engaging and useful when you can put it in a context.
Yes.
And math reminds me of that because that was one of the subjects in school that I was like, yeah, but when am I ever going to use this? And then, of course, I went into biophysics and it's like, yeah, I needed that and a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
yeah, having the application for it though makes the learning of it
Yeah,
much more easy and inspiring.
yes,
I
I agree.
My experience. So
Yeah.
tell me about some of these diverse experiences that you're bringing into your program.
If you notice my workflow for my career with the software and hardware part of it, it was because I've always had a passion for robots. And so even when I was building test systems that were automated, everything was leaning in towards robotics because when I was back in the day with a dinosaur, when I was going out there, the robotics wasn't as popular as it is right now.
Yeah.
We were doing robotics, but it was more like in manufacturing and in such
Yeah, and it
instances.
was really crude robotics compared to some of the things they're
Exactly.
trying to accomplish today.
Exactly. So I think subconsciously and consciously, I've been chasing the next new thing that will lead me closer to robotics. And so I did the test automation for a long time. And then I went into aerospace, building vehicular systems that is
Yeah.
definitely a robot, right?
Yeah, so
Because the
self-propelled
rocket,
little things that run
exactly.
around on Mars or
It's a
wherever and pick
robot.
up rocks and yeah.
Exactly. And especially the thing with building rockets is that it's a very system based engineering. And that's what robotics is because we have so many different parts. We have the chemical engineers determining what kind of fuel goes in. We have the parts of what the load that we carry. We have people, mechanical engineering building what encases it, how it operates in space. We have electrical engineering with the equipment section, which is where I was. And we have all kinds of people, the planners determining when our product comes in. We have everything. It's like I would say, if you really want to be great in robotics, you should probably start in aerospace, and aerospace engineers can definitely work in robotics. It's just a lot more tighter, stricter process than most of this robotics industry. But after working in aerospace for a little while, I moved into the gaming chain. And now, if you see how robotics is bringing in general AI, they are kind of simulating robotics while they're bringing it into the hardware, which is kind of like what we did with the gaming engine. We can simulate words, right?
Yes.
Because when you do physics in the game engine, you want to make sure it looks real. You want to take the science behind it. You don't want
Yeah, there needs to
your
be
things to be
gravity in this
flying.
world unless we've deliberately said we're not having gravity.
Exactly, exactly. And so one of the things I wanted to do was take all something I'm really passionate about and include it into STEAM Divas, which is how Robot Diva was created. Robot Diva is an animated series. We're not where we are financially
Yeah,
yet, the
she's
way
your
we want
STEAM
to
Diva
be.
avatar. And she's
Exactly.
pretty cool. She's got this banging hairdo and she's got PP, personal protective equipment that is just
Exactly.
styling. I love
Styling.
STEAM Diva.
And so it's basically like we wanted to do something that teach robotics because we know if we're trying to build anything humanoid that interact with human, we do in this particular space, we do need a lot of females in there
Yeah.
at the same pace that we have the males. So I knew that STEAM Divas is still doing STEM. We're creating that experts opportunity for people to do different kinds of STEM. But Robot Diva was teaching robotics more in depth, like what is robotics, what is localization, like deep things. And we're breaking it down in such a way that it's so easy for anybody to grasp it. Like
Yeah,
you can
that your middle
basically
schoolers can kind of,
exactly. And we do
yeah,
it through storytelling, so
exactly.
storytelling is, we tie it like always, we're connecting dots. If you're into understanding balance spiritually, you can understand how the robot sets itself into balance. It's not about being still, it's adjusting itself every time gravity pulls from one point to the
Dynamically,
other.
yes.
And so it's an interesting area where we're expanding Steam Divas into, while at the same time we're still catering to our in-person, like you mentioned, people, once people have a hands-on experience of things, we're still catering to that. So our in-person experiences is allowing the students to come in and do hands-on things. They can experience it, they can build real results, they can see what they really want to build right away.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And my brain's trying to go too many directions at once. This is part of the problem. I'm like, this is so cool. Yeah, I think the robot is a really amazing door into the world for a lot of young people because it's like this next vista of engineering and scientific creativity that's really coming to life right now in front of us.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a really great gateway. Become addicted to STEM. So tell us a little bit about the YouTube channel and Robot Diva. You mentioned that she introduces some of these more complicated concepts. What can they expect from Robot Diva going forward on YouTube?
So with Robot Diva, one of the things we will try to do is get people to build their own robot. And I love the idea of solving problems that is connected to what girls like. But I'm
Yeah.
also considering parents, like any young woman who's out there too, that's like, oh, I want to do something. So we
Yeah.
try to make
I,
sure
I
that
was
whatever.
going to say, as a parent, when you go build your own robot, I'm like, oh my. This seems like more than mom wants to bite off and chew.
We try
Probably
to make it
dad
easy.
too.
We really do. We really try to make it easy. We try to remove all the complexities. And so we basically like showing you exactly how we do it. And you can copy the code, you can tweak if you want to, right? Like we had the
Yeah, I seem to
first,
remember there are like packages you can purchase that give you like
yes,
parts that you can use.
yes.
Yeah, you don't
We
have to spend your time going crazy on Amazon.
exactly. And on GitHub we have the code so you can just download. So if you really want to emulate exactly what we're doing, you can. And then you have space to expand um,
Right. Because
the
once
things that
you've
you
done
want.
it and you've
Exactly.
locked in the understanding of how it works, now it's easy to look at it and go, oh, I could do this other thing and make it do this. Or I could add on this
Exactly.
other one thing and have it, respond to sound or
Right.
whatever the thing
Exactly.
is. Yeah.
And we are always like, hey, reach out to us, join STEAM Divas group. So we can always constantly create like a community of robot diva having conversations about
Yeah,
how we
exactly. You've
improve
got a
this.
place you can go and it's like,
Exactly.
well, I did what I thought should work and I got data, but it wasn't the data I was hoping for.
Exactly. And you know, you might be building the next robots that will be trying to emulate on Robot Diva. And so we want to get as much diverse thought in building robots. So we built robots that have twerks, at least we call it twerking. We
Twerking
built,
robots, yes.
oh yeah, exactly. And we built robot that we have had it follow the kids to the bathroom because my kids used to bother me to go with them to the bathroom when they were younger. And I was like, okay, mommy needs to create something to go with you. And so we had what we call the bathroom buddy. And so it goes to the bathroom and it sings the songs, or you can record your voice on it, whatever you want to do. And recently, our last build,
I
we built.
think you had some customer feedback on that one that was less than enthusiastic. I'm just gonna like lean into that. Not all the ideas are winners. The beautiful thing, though, with an experience, even when you get the no spouse approval, is what happens at my house. A lot of times I'll do smart home stuff, and it's like negative spouse approval rating on that. It's oh dang, but you always learn so much in the process.
Yes,
And a lot of times, even the doesn't mean that what you did was completely
yeah,
wasted, but it needed to be tweaked so it had a better
yeah.
reception from your audience.
Exactly. And that's the truth. We can always, like, and this is what I always tell the students, you can always improve. Like, we are not coming out to say we are the owners of all of these ideas. We are saying we're bold and we're taking the risk to build these ideas. It's not going to be perfect. And we actually don't want it to be, because perfection stops a lot of young girls from moving forward. We want it to be click clacking. We want it to be working by magic, but we're
Yeah.
making it work, right? And so there's a lot of lessons we're trying to teach. Perfection has held a lot of young girls back a lot of
Oh, amen.
times. Yeah,
I'm a recovering perfectionist myself. My screensaver says done beats perfect.
exactly.
Get it
So
out there.
we always push for that, especially when we're building. We're
Yeah.
putting it out there. We're like, there's room for improvement, and that's what I want. I want the students to look at it, criticize it, and say, I can build better. Don't just criticize and just be like, yeah, everybody can criticize, but
Exactly.
you
Go
want to
there and
go.
make it better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you say make it better and put it on there, tag us on it, and say, hey,
Here's what you could
here's
do.
how it should be.
Yes.
And we will take your stuff and put it on our website and correct everything that you corrected
Yep.
because we are a learning group. We're not afraid
Exactly.
of being corrected.
It's iterative. It's
Yes,
iterative. And I think one of the major breakthroughs that I had personally was taking feedback as data, not as criticism.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, we all have to just bring in all of the data and act like scientists and just get all of the data. It's nothing personal. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean the person is right, and it doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that
Exactly.
everybody has an opinion. Gather it all in, and then figure out which one of this data is valuable to you,
Yeah.
useful to you, which one is going to be moving you forward, which one is going to keep you stagnant in the space, and which
Yep.
one of it that's going to take you in the direction you want to go. Because not every
Exactly.
feedback is going to lead you in the direction you want to go. So it's very important that you
And
sit down.
sometimes the direction that you want to go isn't the commercially viable direction. I know
Exactly.
a lot of
Exactly.
times as a founder, I will fall in love with my idea, my little baby, and
Exactly.
then I will present it to a customer who will tell me my baby is ugly. And yeah, it stings. But when that customer also says, I think your baby would look prettier if you put it in a blue jumper,
Yeah.
okay, that's data I can work with, right?
Exactly. And I think it's imperative, especially as young girls, that you know who and what you want to be. Because people are going to tell you a lot of things. You're going to hear a lot.
Oh,
And so
yes.
you want to be like certain. Like that's what I'm saying, that it's important to know where direction you want to go. Because sometimes when I was picking up all of the skills, using
Yeah,
myself as
yeah.
an example, a lot of people told me specialize, pick this thing, pick one
Oh,
thing,
yes, yes.
you
Back to
know,
the
and
specialist trap. Yeah,
exactly. And I said, I know what I want to be, where I want to go. I know the core of who I am. So when I take the information that's given to me, I strip what is important and what is not important
yeah.
and throw it away. And
I
this is how
love
people need to
that.
be taking every feedback. Because if you know the core of who you are, it helps you to
Yeah,
make better decisions.
exactly. And we are up on our second break. So, I think what I'd like to suggest that you do over the break is spend a little time reflecting, whether you're doing the reflection for yourself or maybe a child that you're guiding through the world. Reflect a little bit on the pros and cons of being a specialist versus being a generalist versus being like a polymath, which is what we're really discussing here. People in robotics tend to be masters of many fields. And just think about what's your natural predisposition. Some of us like to go really, really deep on stuff. Others of us just need to get like a functional handle on what that is so that we can incorporate it in something else. Think about that natural inclination that you or the child that you're guiding has and get really clear about what that is because that will definitely inform the choices you want to make moving forward. And hang with us, we'll be right back from the break.
Oh, shout it loud, but we'll hear. Tech is ours and we show no fear. No fear. No fear. No fear.
Thanks for hanging in with us through the break. This is Zofia Morales. I am back with Chioma, the visionary founder of STEAM Divas. So, before the break, I had invited you to consider the personality style of the child that you're working with and think about where do you fall in these types? Are you a starter? Are you a big idea person? Are you really into the details? Do you like to go really, really deep on a subject and have more insular interests? Or are you more of a polymath? I want to go deep on all of it. Because I think it's really important. It really informs how you want to move forward as you're moving in and through the STEM journey. So, talk to us a little bit about what you're doing in STEAM Divas. I know you have some fun events coming up. You've got something called Vibecraft. You've got a STEAM camp that's powered by AI. You've got robotics going on. Tell us what you're doing and how you're different from a traditional STEM camp.
Okay, so like I said, we have STEAM camps that we do allow for hands-on experience. Our STEAM camps are arts focused, but with an infusion of STEM, because we're looking for a specific kind of people that think that STEM is not for them. So we find the things that they could be interested in. And every year we try to do something different. Last 2 years we did styling a hair with robotics pieces. So people had rotating hair and lights, LED lights on it, and a lot of other stuff they added to it. The year before we did makeup with chemistry, and so we had a lot of learning around taking care of your skin, self-care, and teaching you how the periodic table affects your skin. And this year we are doing something around AI and storytelling. So one of the
Mm.
things we're going to be doing, we're going to be teaching the girls how to learn machine learning to train a machine to know what mean words are and what kind words are. So the
Oh,
more they train, the more the words will be able to, the machine will be able to identify mean and not so
and
mean words.
nice. Yeah.
And we're doing this because we want girls to understand the power of their voice, the power of their words.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, we would have them work with an LLM, which we are trying to build our
Large
own.
language model, AI,
Yes,
chat GPT. Try throw
yes,
some terms out that people will
yes,
attach to.
that's true. So the large language model, we're trying to build something for us, actually like a tool for us, because we want to keep the kids safe, and it's going to help them write a story, and we can pick a theme around the story, and we want to put the theme around bullying so they can understand the power of the words and also write a story around the
Right.
you know,
Yeah, because the bully likes to lead with the mean words.
exactly.
And when you're creating a defense against the bully and helping people who've been targets of the bully,
Yeah,
then nice words help with that.
exactly.
Firm words help with that.
Exactly. And storytelling is a way to allow them to have their voice,
Yeah.
to tell the stories they probably held inside, and to know that they can write books through the systems, and we want to have them publish their voice, their words, and tell their story, and
Yeah.
have the LLM, the large language model systems to help them put the story together. So this is going to be like the flow of the program, and this is going to happen in around April, May period because of International Women's Day. We try to
Yeah.
celebrate around that time. And it's going to be in Florida, in the Melbourne area, and Orlando area. And we do our in person within this locale. Eventually, we're hoping to be able to put that online because this is a program you don't have to put your hands on a machine. So we're hoping this is
Right.
one of the ones we can allow for people all over to be able to participate in it. One of the things that we do, like I said, we're big on collaborations and not competitiveness. We do allow teachers access to our curriculums. They can see our curriculum, they can use our curriculums in their own classrooms if they want to.
Nice. Nice. Because I'm sure I haven't been a teacher. I was told I should be a teacher, but I haven't been a teacher. But I can imagine there is an ongoing challenge around classroom engagement and finding the next good project. Yeah. So it's nice to have a little jump start. So, how is your program different from a traditional STEM camp? Tell me what a traditional STEM camp looks like.
Well, initially, when we started out like a traditional STEM camp would basically be focused on just STEM stuff or machine learning and building
Programming
programs and
something, yeah.
programming and
Mhm.
websites and things like that. We were just like focused on the tech side of things, even though we were STEAM. But what our program does now is we focus on the art side of things and then add the STEM into them.
Yes.
So for us, it's storytelling. For Vibecraft, that's coming up is storytelling. But then how do we make the storytelling very STEMish is by adding the LLM large language model part of it, and
Yeah.
also adding the machine learning part of it. So this is
Exactly.
how we
Teach the
include it.
machine how to
Yes,
support you. Yes.
exactly. So now we are more focused on finding the artsy things girls like to do. And when we say artsy, it doesn't have to be just basically like painting, but more so anything around creativity.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And thinking about some of the projects you've talked about, there are so many things in our world that involve science and technology that we don't even realize involve science and technology anymore. And
Exactly.
so I love that you're bringing that focus forward. It's like cooking. My husband and I had an argument when we first got married. I was cooking dinner every night when I came home. We're both working really long days, yet I'm the one that the cooking falls on. And so I finally sat him down and said, look, I'm over this. We need to start splitting some of these cooking chores. And he says, oh, but I can't cook. I said, bullshit. You are a chemist. You follow a protocol every day. You get your starting materials, you measure them out, you put them in the proper proportions under the proper conditions for a certain period of time. And then when you're done, you test to make sure you got what you wanted. That's cooking. Unfortunately, I lost that argument because then he came back with, I'm cooking all day. I don't want to come home and cook. Rats. But yeah,
Sure.
there's so much of our world where science overlaps with what we do in the day to day. And it gives you this great shoehorn into interest in the technical side of things.
Yeah.
Love that.
I
So, how
just to
can
add to that,
people?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
sure, go
Just
ahead.
to add to that,
Yeah.
I find it absolutely weird that we felt that we needed to split things into science and arts. Because I think at the end of the day, we're creating in either side. You can get it down to science or lift it up to an art. It's still the same thing, same sides, different sides of the same coin. So when you think about it, we have our brains work with both sides. So when we start restricting ourselves, we're basically turning off a part of ourselves
Yes,
by not allowing us to explore either the science side of our brains or the art side of our brains. Because it's never different, even in nature, it's never separate.
yeah,
So the question
exactly.
is, why was he ever separated in the first place?
Yeah, and let's bring it back together. Let's bring the whole person to this adventure. I love that. Tell the listeners how your work is coming out in the world, where they can become engaged if they want to support your mission, if they have children they'd like involved, if they want to get involved with curriculum, and know that any link she shares is going to be in the show notes. So tell us about it.
Well, definitely the first place you want to go find anything about STEAM Divas is on steamdivas.org. We are everywhere on the internet. You can still find us with steamdivas.com, but I'd like to use .org all the time because we're a nonprofit and we do have a link for you to register as either as a student, if you're someone who you know a student that might be interested, or a teacher if you're a volunteer, you want to mentor, you feel like you'll be able to help any one of the students, and you don't have to be a scientist to be part of this team. Like I said, we're both science and art. If you know how to cook, I feel like you'd be great in helping us to teach one or two things in chemistry. So yes, definitely just sign up if you want to mentor or volunteer. And then if you're a parent, if you have a child and you feel like I don't know how to and help my child to get into science or I don't know how to keep their interest in science, we're here to give you the tools. We have resources for every one of these people. And also you could be a parent with a male child and you're like, they might not be too keen about what you're offering, but I want to learn. So you can also sign up. So we're not just catering to just one of the girls, but we try to make our events to cater towards the things the girls like. But if you have a son that you feel like they're interested in those kind of things, definitely we are open to
Yeah,
letting them
we're
join
not
us.
going to tell him he has to go somewhere else just because he's interested in fashion.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that everyone is clear about that. We don't, I know we say increasing women, but we are not like only girls. We're very open to anyone who has passion about any of the artsy stuff we're doing, and you want to find a way to include it with STEM.
I love that. I love that. So we'll have links to her website, to her YouTube channel, so you
Yes.
can interact with Robot Diva, make a
Definitely.
contribution
One more
if you're
thing I forgot
moved.
to add
Yes,
to
go
that.
ahead.
My book website is my first name and my
Oh,
last name.com. So
yeah.
that's where you
Okay.
find my book. My book is a first part. There's going to be 3 part series. And so you might want to grab the one we currently have, but I'm also have that available. She will talk about that later. But if you get on our website, you can see some of the insert of what we're
Yeah.
going to be coming up with.
Well,
And so
let's
that's
talk
pretty much
about that now because we got
okay.
3 minutes left.
Okay.
So tell us a little more about the book.
Also, the name of the book is called Unlocking the Team Puzzle. And this is something that I came out of me leading in different industries. And so I was able to understand that people don't burn out because of too much work. People burn out because they're stuck in positions they don't want to be in for too long. And
Right.
so I wanted to figure out what those different productivity personalities are so my team can be in an area where they thrive the most. And so that's how I figured out that there are different productivity personalities. There is the early starters, there is the deep divers, and there's the final finishers. And we talked a little bit about each one of them. But go get the book and you even get an insight and even figure out who you are. Our second book is coming out soon. It has a survey for you to be able to identify your productivity personality, but it's also geared more towards managers, managing people with productivity personality. And the third one is about how companies can handle productivity personalities as they build their product. And that's going to be sometime in the future. I'm going to probably write both and release them at different times.
Very good. But if you go out and get book one and you get engaged with her organization, I'm sure you'll receive notices about those.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, it's been such a lovely conversation with you today. What would be your final words for any of the listeners out here, regardless of which bucket they sit in?
I think one of the things that I really want to encourage is people need to go out and do what they want to do without worrying too much about it not being perfect or fitting into anybody's idea of what it's supposed to look like. Because at the end of the day, we don't really know what the future holds. I know we all
Yeah.
sit hearing about AI and robotics coming down the pipeline. Things are going to change a lot. And only those who are flexible to change would survive these changes. So my thing is, don't let anyone define for you because we all don't know. We're all learning. We're all trying to figure things out. Just chase your passion. What you're passionate about, figure out how you can include your passion within the things you love, and you'll be really successful.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you for spending time with us here today. And dear listener, thank you for investing your time here. I know there are a million podcasts out there, and I really appreciate that you took the time to join us here today. And I hope that this has been helpful to you and your journey. I would love to hear from you. If you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment down here below the video. Or if you're podcasting, you can send me an email to Zofia, Zofia, at STEMinstilettos.com. And until next week, go out, be bold, be beautiful, and be authentically you.